Hello everyone, welcome to a brand new episode on this channel. Today we have an update on the Mizkif situation. Sorry I haven't posted anything yesterday. Like I said in the post, on the channel post, right? I have my medical stuff going on at the minute, so it's kind of hard to find some time for everything. You know what I mean? I got like the music business that I need to take care of, and I have, medical stuff that I need to prioritize, obviously, right? Like I gotta take care of my health, right? But yeah, man. And also try to find time to record stuff and also find stuff to talk about. Like, I don't want to just record a video for the sake of recording a video if it's something that I'm not interested in, right? But yeah, anyway, with that being said, in today's video, there's been an update on the Mizkif situation, like I said. And yeah, man, the goat in this video is Sensitive Society. Once again, the link will be in the description. The first link, as always. If you're new here, subscribe to my channel, drop a like, drop a comment with whatever you want to say, as long as it's, you're not just being an asshole for the sake of being an asshole. And yeah, go subscribe to Sensitive Society, drop a like on his video, all that good stuff. But yeah, man, with that being said, let's just get into the video, man. Let's see what this is all about.
You gotta realize something, chat, that's been crazy this past month. 4 of the horsemen of Latch on the Asman, they all 4 had such crazy allegations that came out this past month. Chibi, Tectone, the lawyer, and now this Nux guy. All 4 of them who Asman and would have around, or at least talk to, or it was around him.
Man, what
all
happened
had
with the lawyer?
Crazy, disgusting allegations about whatever the fuck they had this month.
What the hell is going on a post above? What the fuck? I just realized. Damn, bro, what you looking at, man? Mizkif needs to chill out, man. But yeah, what the hell is going on with the lawyer? What?
4 of them. And it's just this 1 month. And Lucari. It's been a good fucking 2026 for us, chat. I'm not gonna lie.
Welcome back, my
I wouldn't say it's been a good 2026 so far for you, Mizkif, but okay.
unemployed amigas and amigos. It is so good to have you back. Let me steal something from my friend Pegasus in today's video. I kid. I don't want to steal his intro. So if you've been watching the last few videos, you would know that we've been talking about the one, the only, the CEO of Demon Time and Demon Hour, whichever the fuck it is. I always forget, but it's one of those two. We've been talking about the Mizkif situation and the updates and how it's been going. In case you guys missed those, feel free to check them out. The last time that we talked about him was like 2 or 3 days ago, and that was because there were some people that were saying Emiru is lying, and anyone that is defending Emiru is a white knight and a tier 3 simp, and they want to date her, which is not the case. I said this in the last video, and I'll say it yet again. When we took a look at Mizkif crying and having a mental breakdown because people were calling him the R word, they were calling him a racist, even though he openly calls other people racist, I have allegations against them. So it's like, he's crying because people call him a racist because of the allegations, yet he has no problem calling other streamers and YouTubers pedophiles and racist. And
yeah, that's crazy, isn't it? Like, he's the first one to say, to like, he just reads something on the internet, he's the first one to call him out, like, all this horrible life ruining shit. But then when people do the same thing to him, he just starts crying. He's like, oh, I can't believe they're calling me all this crazy stuff, it's unfair. Well, maybe you shouldn't do it to others, bro, and then other people will actually be, well, obviously there'll be like the retards on the internet that will forever say crazy wild shit, right? But we're not talking about them. We're talking about normal people, right? But even normal people, seeing Mizkif's behavior, they don't feel bad for him, and, there are some people that would probably join into that stuff, not that I'm saying you should, you obviously shouldn't, right? Especially if you don't have concrete proof evidence, you know what I mean? But, at the same time, he's doing this stuff, so obviously people will do the same thing to him, right? It's kind of just how life works, man. But Mizkif doesn't really understand that, which is kind of wild to me still.
On top of that, never forget that Mizkif was blackmailing Emiru and a whole bunch of stuff. It's like, why should we be charitable and feel bad for Mizkif when he doesn't give that same energy back? Do you guys remember when he said he was going to go demon mode? It's demon time, and he was going to leak everyone's info and files, and your favorite streamer will be exposed. And he was acting all tough, all Sigma.
Yeah.
But then he starts crying. To put things into perspective, let's say Emiru lied about this whole thing, even though she hasn't, and there's no proof of her lying about everything. But let's say she did. I will still not care for Mizkif. Like, this guy is the biggest douchebag even before the allegations. There's so many incidents that have been recorded of Mizkif being abusive towards his ex. Not only verbally, but also physically, throwing food at his ex, throwing stuff at his ex. If he wants to pretend that throwing a Kirby plushie is the equivalent of throwing a brick at someone, then that means to him throwing a box or something heavy to his ex-girlfriend, that's the equivalent of punching a woman in the face and then kicking her while she's down. So let's not pretend like...
Yeah, that's a crazy ass comparison, isn't it? Guys, though, please feel bad for me. She was throwing plushies at me, and I just punched holes in the walls. Like, oh my god, this is so bad. But yeah, man, nobody's buying that shit, man.
Of punching a woman in the face and then kicking her while she's down. So let's not pretend like Mizkif is this perfect guy with a perfect track record and he's never done anything wrong and they're doing him dirty right now. So the YouTuber Legal Mindset put out this video, Immeru's difficult defense in Mizkif lawsuit. I talked about this briefly on my last video, but I actually wanted to take a look at this because, well, it's a lawyer and I'm not a lawyer. So I'm really looking forward to see what he has to say regarding the case. In my opinion, before we get into it though, I don't think this is Immeru lying. And not once did she say, yeah, I lied. So I don't know why everyone's jumping on the bandwagon that Immeru's a liar and Mizkif should come back and they did him dirty. No. Let's not forget everything else the Mizkif has done, alright? The Mizkif allegations are still ongoing.
The thing, so hold on, sorry. The thing is, I feel like a lot of the people jump on the like, oh yeah, Mizkif, Emerald lied about it, you know what I mean? It's just like fucking 12-year-olds that watch Andrew Tate still, you know? And think that all women are bad, bro, and all women are just here to destroy your life, right? Like, obviously, I'm not saying that there isn't those kind of women out there, but, like, that's not everyone, bro. Like, you know what I mean? It's just 12-year-olds that watch on Tate and is like, yeah, this is base, bro. Send that woman back to the kitchen. Like, you know, of course she's lying about him. Of course she's making false allegation. And if you guys don't know what I'm talking about, Andrew Tate actually had a similar thing, right? And he got in, well, he was abusive towards this woman, or I believe it was like a partner or something like that. And then she reported him to the police, and then he fled the UK, and then everybody was asking him about it, and he'll be like, yeah, so she made just some bullshit on me, you know what I mean? And because it's the UK, like, of course they believe her, you know, because like, all these women just lie about you and ruin your life and all that stuff. So yeah, that's why I'm saying that it's just the 12-year-olds that watch Andrew Tate still and think that oh yeah, all women are bad, all women are lying, like, you know. All of them are just out here ready to ruin a man's life, like, you know, which is not the reality, right? Like, a lot of times, like, I'll say, like, maybe, like, 90% of the time is not actually, like, a woman lying about it, you know what I mean? Just to ruin a man's life. I think it's just, you know, she's just saying the truth, bro, you know, but the man is just trying to cover for it, right? And like I said, there's always those exceptions to the rule, right? 100% it happens. I won't deny that. But at the same time, it's not as common as everybody wants to think it is. But yeah, let's continue.
Plus, we have everything he said publicly and admitted to from the live stream that he did and everything else in between. So for people to act like this guy has a perfect track record and he doesn't deserve any criticism, I think that's pushing it. But anyways, let's just get into the video. If you end up enjoying this video, drop a like, subscribe to the channel, and let's just get right into it.
Facts can be interpreted in favor of Mizkif. And an important note here is Mizkif is trying to amend his complaint to add facts that the first version of his complaint didn't have. And both of them, Asmongold and Emeru, are trying to prevent that. Emeru goes into a little bit more detail with her comments on why that should be prevented. But Mizkif did not do a good job of including a lot of facts in his initial complaint, which is why it was absolutely so laugh-worthy. But there may be an issue here, a very, very specific issue here with Emeru's motion to dismiss. So the issue is, in Texas, it's defamation per se to accuse someone of a crime or imputations of serious sexual misconduct.
Right.
And SA, right, you see it right there, is a felony which falls under both categories. So it's both a crime and an imputation of serious sexual misconduct. So both of those things are defamation per se. So if you have that information out there, you would interpret that, okay, that's defamatory. And of course, just for those that don't know, the crime of SA generally requires some sort of physical contact, right? So that's something that's going to be required. And as of yet, we do not have any injunction or criminal complaint against Mizkif that's been filed for SA. But which brings us to the problem. The problem is, looking at Amaru's statements in the transcript, she used the language of SA at least 3 times during her main speech, which you can go through, and these are timestamps from the transcript, which was submitted to the court. We can read that today. Today, I'm finally going to be opening up about the psychological and domestic abuse, stalking and harassment, sexual assault, and threats of blackmail that Mizkif has done towards me, and some of these issues which are ongoing. That's number one.
Right. Sorry, just 1 second, because I do want to say something. So from what I understood in the last video, basically, legal mindset was saying that in Texas they have this thing where it's like, you know, how the person or the victim, if you will, right, it's interpreting the action, right? So basically he was saying that while still you know, Amaru saying that, yo, this is SA, this is some like strong shit, right? At the same time, she's got like some grounds because that's how she felt about it, right? Like that's her own opinion of what happened. That's how she took that, you know, took the thing that happened as SA, right? Like that's what I understood about it. Maybe I'm wrong. So if I'm wrong, and if it doesn't clarify, you guys are feel free to clarify in the comments and correct me if I'm wrong. But that's my understanding, right? Because it was like, right, is the you know, the rule of interpretation, right? I think that's what it was called, right? So it was like, that might not have necessarily been what actually happened per se, right? Like it wasn't necessarily intended to be SA, but because Mizkif, you know, unwillingly shoved the hands in the trousers, you know, Amaru took it as being SA, which, you know, doesn't mean that's necessarily correct, but at the same time doesn't mean that because she said that she's completely invalidated, right? Like, because that's, you know, that's the way she felt about it, like, you know, and I feel like that's, you know, in my opinion, that's fair. I think most people, you know, regardless if you're a man or a woman, if someone forcibly, you know, shove their hands down your trousers or stuff like that, you know, maybe you would feel like you'll be SA. Like I feel like it's a pretty normal way to see it, but yeah, maybe it's just me, I don't know. So, you know, don't take this as, oh, because she said this, but this might not necessarily be what actually happened. This means that she lost the case instantly, because it's not like that. At least from my understanding. Like I said, feel free to correct me if I'm wrong in the comments.
Assault and threats of blackmail that Mizkif has done towards me, and some of these issues which are ongoing. That's number one. Number two, she opens up by saying, but because of the past incidents during like other fights and times I would try to separate myself from him, past incidents during those times of him manipulating me into staying close with him and giving him more chances, sexually assaulting me, the abuse, and just generally not being a very nice person. And then last but not least, I'm so grateful for how things are now. It was very difficult, but I'm very proud of myself for making the choices that I did to end up where I am now. And
I said this when everything went down the first time, when people were saying, I think Emaru's lying. She's like all these other women that lie and make up allegations because they're salty over a breakup. Most of the time when people lie about this sort of stuff, they want something out of it. They want the guy's career to end. They want money. They want clout. They want fame. They want attention. But most of the time, what they want is money. And in my opinion, with the stuff that we had at the time and the stuff that we have as of now, it's like Emaru doesn't need the clout. She's bigger than Mizkif.
Yeah.
She doesn't need the money. I'm sure she has a lot more money than Mizkif. To me, it's like, why would she do this? Think about this logically. She has everything to lose in this situation and absolutely nothing to win. Now, if for whatever reason it does come out that she lied about everything and Mizkif is innocent, where Mizkif fucked up is going live and admitting to many things and showing the blackmail about Emaru killing bunnies, and then the truth came out and he was lying. So it's like, if he saved this blackmail to get back at her and then that didn't work and it backfired, it's like, what else is he willing to lie about? You know what I mean? So even if
that's the thing, like even if she lied about everything, the fact that he went live and just admitted to a whole bunch of shit, he already fucked himself over. And I know I'm like 99% sure I said this in one of the previous episodes, right? That you know, yeah, if it comes out for, you know, that Emery lied about it, then yeah, obviously, you know, she deserves what's coming for her, right? But at the same time, it's like Mizkif fucked himself over anyway, because he admitted to throwing stuff at her and doing all this crazy stuff, like driving like super fast and recklessly. So yeah, you know, regardless of whether Emery is lying or not, he kind of fucked himself over anyway. And even putting, you know, the possibility of Emery possibly lying and just, you know, going, yeah, okay, you know, she said the truth, but Mizkif is not happy about it, so now he's suing. Once again, he has made this lawsuit that he started so much harder for him because of the stuff that he said on stream, you know? So it's like he kind of fucked himself over no matter how you want to look at it.
Emery lied about the essay, which, in case you guys don't remember, the essay happened when Emery was crying, and Mizkif decided to put his hand down her pants while Emery was crying.
Yeah.
That's the allegation right now. So even if he didn't do that, why are we forgetting everything else that he's currently being accused of? Like WestJet says, he might not be guilty yet, but what he is guilty of is being cringe and being a massive cornball and being annoying and being a douche and being a degenerate and being a drug addict, and well, you know, the list goes on and on and on with Mizkif. And the reason why I'm saying this is because there's so many people on Twitter running with the narrative that Emery is guilty and she's a liar, and you know, men are always the victim, and Emery deserves to die and be, you know, a lot of things have been said online about Emery. Even though, once again, her or the lawyer, they never say, yeah, essay never happened. There's a lot of misinformation going on right now, and I have no stake in this game. Like, I genuinely don't care for Emery. It's not like I'm watching her streams or anything. It's not like I'm a fan on top of that. So it's not like I'm out here with my tier 3 simp subscription, tuning in into every Emery live stream, being like, Emery, you got this, queen. If I donate $10,000 to you, will you go out on a date with me? It's like, I'm not doing that. That's not the point of this. The point of this is just to show you how shitty Mizkif is. I don't like Mizkif, all right? I never did, truth be told, and I don't think that's a secret. I think I've said this multiple times over the years. I don't like the guy.
Yeah, that's my
Yeah, but it's not even just about the fact that, oh, you know, you just really like Emery or whatever, like you watch her content a lot or whatever, you know what I mean? It's also about like being truthful about it, right? Showing the reality of things, right? Like whether you like Mizkif or not, that's up to you. Or whether you like Emery or not, and you watch, you know, either Mizkif or Emery, like that doesn't really matter in the grand scheme of things. And if you think about, oh, I gotta defend Mizkif just because I like his content, bro, you know, so now I'm just gonna say Emery is a lying bitch and all that stuff, that you're just thinking about it the wrong way, bro. Like you should be truthful about it, and you should be able to recognize that whether you watch someone, right? Like say for example, you're a Mizkif fan, right? And you're like, and your mindset is, oh, bro, Emery is always lying, stuff like that, bro. That you shouldn't think like that. You should think that, okay, well, I'm a Mizkif fan, but what is being said is still kind of, yikes, bro. That's a lot to take in. You know what I mean? That's some serious ass shit. Like, you know, it's not some like, oh yeah, you know, he was crying because I was making more views, you know, because like whatever, everybody laughs at that, like nobody's gonna take it that seriously, right? Like these are some serious ass allegations, right? Like, you know, the essay stuff and whatnot, right? Like the abuse and all that stuff, like that's some serious ass shit, right? And as a viewer, you should think to yourself, okay, well, we don't have any, like, you know, the lawsuit is still ongoing, so we don't have any definitive like response from the lawsuit yet, but even though I like this guy, maybe I should, you know, I should also understand that these are some serious allegations, and I shouldn't just take a side for the sake of taking a side just because I watch his content, right? And the same goes for the Emery fans, right? Like if you're an Emery fan, like you shouldn't take her side just because you like her content, right? You should take her side because, you know, you looked at what's been presented, you know, what she presented, because that's obviously the most important thing, right? And also what Mizkif presented, because that's also very important, right? Because they're the two people, you know, kind of fighting, quote unquote, right, about this, right? So you should look at both sides, and you should be able to make your own conclusion and be like, okay, listen, you know, if it's true, well, that's, you know, that's fucked up from Mizkif, right? But at the same time, it's like, I'm not gonna jump on one side and be like, yeah, fuck the other side, fuck the other side, just because, right? Just because you're like the content creator. That's such a bad way of thinking about it, and it's not really a good way of thinking, and it won't really get you anywhere in life, right? Now, obviously, you can say, well, you know, fucking, you know, MNU fans are always brain dead anyway. They just watch it to simp over her, like, whatever. But you can say whatever the fuck you want. But, you know, in my opinion, that's still retarded. And, you know, that's not a valid argument to have, you know, for something like this. Because at the end of the day, regardless of whether Mizkif is innocent or guilty, and or Emaru is saying the truth or lied about all of this, you know, you still have a bad way of looking at things, and you still have a bad way of making decisions, you know. And the thing is, regardless of whether Emaru lied or not, and whether Mizkif is right or wrong, whatchamacallit, you know, you should still want for the person that was in the wrong, right? Like, say for example, Emaru lied, right? Then you should still want for Emaru to be, you know, prosecuted and to, you know, get the consequences that she deserves for lying, right? Like, you shouldn't take her defense just because, you know, you like her content. Like, you know, even if you know that she's wrong, for example, let's just say, right, even if you know that she's wrong, you're still defending her just because, right? Like a lot of people are doing for Mizkif, right? It's like, well, you know, everything looks very bad, and like, yeah, you know, I know this is kind of really bad, bro, but you know, I watch him, so I'm just gonna defend him anyway. You know what I mean? It's not a good thing to do, and it's not really a good way of thinking about it. You should always just be truthful about it and just, you know, be genuine about it. Like, genuinely think like, bro, I like him, but I don't know, man. If this is true, this is some shit. You know what I mean? This is some like shitty ass allegations, and if it is true, he's a shit person. You know, it shouldn't be that hard. You know, I don't understand why people are so biased just because they watch someone. It's like, oh, you know, he's innocent. Like, you know, no matter what he does, like, he's innocent. Like, no, you know, I will never think that he did anything wrong. You know, they look at him as if he's some sort of angel, or at Emiru as being some sort of angel, because nobody is, right? Like, nobody's perfect. Everybody fucks up in the world. You know, some people a lot more than others, but at the end of the day, like, you should just still be realistic about it and just don't pick a side for the sake of, well, I like this content creator and I don't like the other one, so yeah, the other one can fuck off. You know what I mean? That's not how it works.
Story of dealing with psychological and domestic abuse, sexual assault,
Right.
stalking, and being threatened on if you know I ever talked about it. So there you go. You see the instances of her bringing that up. And this was definitely something that Emaru's lawyers knew that Mizkif was going to bring up because of that law, because of the defamation per se. And you do have this statement here. So this statement here seems to be the thing we have in the record that would go towards that, or towards her interpretation of that, which is the statement, "We cuddled for about 30 minutes and started to kiss. She said that she was okay with this on her stream, and I started to advance to the next stage because I thought that's what she wanted."
So this is fine if you forget that according to Emaru, she was crying while this was going on.
Yelped, and I
Yeah.
immediately sprung up and was scared if I did anything wrong or did something or did wrong in general. I got scared and left the house. I apologize if that made Emmy uncomfortable for me not saying sorry, and I wish I had said sorry back then. So that was the incident, which perhaps she was interpreting that. It's the one we have from the record. Of course, this is Mizkif's own statement. Now, Emaru's defense here, and this is the position she filed in this recent filing, is
Right.
that under Texas law, even a verifiably false statement is not defamation if the context reveals the statement was a reflection of an opinion, not a statement of fact.
There we go. This is what I was referring to earlier when I was saying that, like, even if it's not necessarily, like, it wasn't SA in the end, right? It was just, you know, it was just kind of like a misunderstanding from Mizkif's part where they thought like they were closer than they actually were, right? Which, I mean, what the fuck, bro? If she was crying, why the fuck would you think, oh yeah, let me just, you know what I mean? Let me just get in there, you know what I mean? That'll fix the issue. You know, that's fucking retarded thinking on his part, but still, you know, that's what I was saying, right? Like, even if it's not SA, right, is the way that she's seen it, right? It's the way that she interpreted it. The way that she thought it happened, right? Like, she thought it was SA, right? Like, you know, which, like I said, you know, it's yeah, for a lot of people will think that it is SA, right? Like, what the fuck if you're crying there and all of a sudden this guy just, you know what I mean? Like, no asking, no nothing, just like, you know what I mean? Just like, yeah, of course, a lot of people will feel like, wait, what the fuck, bro? Like, I'm crying right now, and you just want to shove your hand down my trouser? Like, what the fuck is wrong with you? You know what I mean? Like, that's not right. And so obviously, just because it turns out not to be SA in the end, and it turns out to be maybe, I don't know, a misunderstanding on Mizkif's part, right? Like, that's how the court decides. It's like, okay, whatever it is, what was SA is just misunderstanding in between the two of them. At the end of the day, that doesn't mean that she lost the case instantly, right? It's just, okay, well, she's seen it this way, and this is why she's seen it like that, and valid. But like, in the end, it turns out to be, just, okay, he thought something, and it wasn't really what was happening. So we'll just call it a misunderstanding on both parties, right? That doesn't mean that she lost the case. That, oh, bomb, she's a loser. She lied about everything. Like, oh my god, no, bro. It's just, how the courts ended up choosing, right? Like how they ended up making their final decision, and this law here specifically allows for stuff like this, right? So it's like, okay, even if it's not as bad, quote unquote, even if it's not as bad as you might say, right? If there's a reasonable what you might call it, like, I don't know how to explain this. If there's, if it's reasonable for that person to feel like that or to think like that, then this law is made to protect them and not to just dismiss the entire case that they might have going on just for the one thing that they reasonably thought that was happening, even though it turned out to be not as tragic as they thought it might be. Like, I don't know how to explain this. I don't know how to explain this. I probably I explained it very wrong, but I hope you guys understood what I meant, right?
So they're trying to lean on the fact that saying, hey, this was more of an opinion than a statement of fact. Here, within the context of the entire 90-minute live stream, it is clear that Emaru was telling her own emotional truth, explaining how their relationship came to an end and the struggles Emaru endured during their relationship. The live stream was spontaneous, unedited, unscripted, and underscoring that Emaru was not delivering a rehearsed narrative, but instead was speaking openly and vulnerably in the moment. Her truth as she experienced it. Like the daughter in Benson, a Texas case that they cite, Emaru's allegedly defamatory statements were either non-actionable elements of opinion or mere opinions masquerading as fact.
I mean, this is just my opinion, but I think if you're gonna, I guess, open yourself to something like this, I think it's always best to, I don't know, maybe rehearse or maybe make a video about it, edit it, especially if the things are pretty serious, such as essay and other things that have been mentioned. I don't think it's the best idea to go live, but at the same time, I do remember that leading up to this, people were saying that she looked stressed and anxious, and the twitch thingy with the weird fan walking up to her and hugging her or trying to kiss her was also going on. And I believe she said that she was sad or depressed, or she wanted to speak out against something that's been on her mind for many years now, and now we know that it was the Mizkif stuff. So I think it was a lot of factors. Once again, I don't think it's the greatest idea to go live and air this out. I think a video would have been a lot better, but I get it. I'm sure there's a lot of people that would have been like, you're lying because you edited a video and you edited all the bad parts. So maybe that's what she was like, I'll just go live, fuck it. I guess everyone's different. If I was Emaru, I would have definitely made a video about this and showed proof in the video, showed receipts. I don't think going live was the greatest idea, but that's just my opinion. But once again,
I don't know. It's one of those things where, like, yeah, on one side I agree with sensitive society, right? Doing a video is definitely the better way to go about it. You can cut out like anything that might be, I guess, I don't know, you might have said wrong or interpreted wrong. I mean, you can look back at it and really think again. It's like, man, is that really, like, is that generally what I think, or did I say it in a bad way? And like, if so, like, retake the video, re-edit some stuff out. But at the same time, I feel like it's actually, in a way, it was actually a smarter idea for her to do it live, because especially in the context of the court case that they have going on now, it's actually a big plus for her because it goes to show, like, listen, she didn't rehearse this, like the Mizkif's lawyer can say, well, this was clearly like edited and made to look to make him look in a bad way, and she definitely like read off the script and all this stuff, and like it was just obviously intentional. She clearly left out the good parts just to say the bad parts, that kind of stuff, right? Whereas going live and seeing her like live on stream, like being upset, crying, all this stuff while she's speaking about it, right? It's a big advantage for her because it's like, yeah, listen, she just said it. Like, it wasn't like, yeah, I practiced this 100 days before, you know what I mean? And I knew everything that I was gonna say and how I wanted to say and all that stuff. Like, I knew when I would start crying and all that stuff, you know what I mean? Definitely possible, sure, but it's definitely really hard to prove that in court. You know what I mean? That this was actually intentional, and she knew exactly when to start crying and when to say certain things and stuff like that. Like, plus, yes, it's very true that like it was a very shitty month for Emiru, because she not too long before she had this happen, like she had the Comic-Con thing. She went to Comic-Con and the fan harassed her, and Twitch refused to do anything about it. So there was a lot of stress for her because it was like, I have to deal with Twitch, and like TwitchCon, because I got harassed there because Twitch didn't let me bring my bodyguard in, and they didn't give me anyone. So I had this weirdo fan come up to me and like put his hands on me unwillingly, and like Twitch is refusing to do anything about it. And then now the Mizkif stuff came out, so I don't know. Or sorry, now then she was like, what, I have too much on my mind. Maybe I should just speak about it, let the world know, and we'll go from there, kind of thing. And that's why maybe she spoke about it right there and then, rather than maybe wait a bit longer to speak about it, to get herself in a better place mentally before she spoke about it. But regardless, the deed is done. We can't go back in time, so it is what it is. But again, I don't know, it is definitely a 50-50 thing. Like, I don't know, I genuinely want to know your guys' opinion about this, right? Like, do you guys think that it would have been smarter to do a video, or it was actually smarter that she did it on stream, like unscripted, unedited, nothing like that, just go live, hey guys, this is what I'm gonna talk about, this is this, that, here's proof, and then that's the end of the story. But yeah, I don't know. Please let me know what you guys think about it. Like, I genuinely want to know what you guys thought would have been the smarter way, because I'm very 50-50 on it, because both of them are very good ways to go about it. And I feel like I said, because of the case, I feel like it was the smarter option. But maybe I'm wrong, maybe you guys feel different about it. But yeah, let me know.
I think going live was the greatest idea, but that's just my opinion. But once again, the thing is, Mizkif went live and admitted to so many things minutes, if not hours, after it went down. And the only person that he has to blame, because no one fucking believes him, he loves to call other people racist and pedophiles, but the second you do it to him, he starts crying. It's like, what?
And then they go on to point out, because they know this is coming, that Mizkif will focus on Emiru's use of the term SA, which I'm going to stop there and just say very clearly, if she had not used that term, we wouldn't even be here today. This wouldn't be an argument. There would be a full, strong case for that motion to dismiss. But using that terminology is really what got her in that position. So without a doubt, without use of those words, there would be no position for Mizkif to hang his hat on here. Yikes. Based on his own statements of his behavior. Let's continue.
All right. Damn. So you see what I mean? Like, look, even the lawyer is saying, this is his only thing, like his only straw that he can try to pull on and argue about. Because if this wasn't the thing, he will be fucked regardless. Like, there will be nothing he can sue Emmy for, because he admitted to a lot of the shit on stream.
And argue that Emiru's statements are necessarily defamatory because they include the same term. However, in comparison to Benson, once again, a Texas case they're relying on, Emiru described in detail the exact nature of his assault against her. Bizarrely, this one sentence that Mizkif actually quotes in the first amended complaint he started kissing me in my face and I let him do it, and then suddenly he tried to climb on top of me and aggressively shoved his hand down my pants, and I screamed. And when I screamed, he jumped off me like a cat. Taking the whole context of the statement into account, as the court is required to do, it's very different than the stepfather in Benson. Emeru describes exactly what happened to her, and although she defines it as SA, a reasonable viewer would unquestionably understand that that term is her own description of what happened to her. The viewer is not left to guess as to the nature of assault based solely on the term SA, which focused on the fact that daughter did not actually describe the alleged assault. Just like in Benson,
Right.
Emeru's statements are not actionable as defamation because they show her personal viewpoint, i.e. her own emotional truth, and not purported fact. So that's their position as to that specific thing. And that is a very, very precarious position at the point of a motion to dismiss, where you're getting into, hey, does this meet the legal standard? And when you're taking those presumptions, once again, the presumptions in favor of Mizkif in terms of the factual allegations.
People are saying, yeah, this is Emeru trying to destroy Mizkif's career. If someone did all of that to you, wouldn't you want to destroy their career too? Or maybe I'm just too Sigma. Maybe I'm just a psychopath and I'm insane. But it's like, if someone mistreated me and was horrible to me over multiple years, and everyone thinks he's a good, wholesome, big, chungus, red and nice guy, would I want to destroy him? Yeah. And the thing is, she's not lying about most of
it's
the
not
stuff.
necessarily about destroying him. It's about bringing the truth to light, right? But I understand what sensitive society is saying, because he's basically kind of saying the same thing, but he's putting it in a more, in a more quote unquote vulgar way, in the sense that, like, you know, he's saying basically like, yeah, if he's like being a horrible piece of shit human being, obviously you want to like end his career, right? So like he's losing his followers, his fans and all that stuff, because, you know, having all that power, you know, it gives him access to a lot of people that he can then do the same thing to, manipulate them and all that stuff, right? So, but yeah, ultimately, you know, it's about bringing the truth to light and, you know, obviously stopping him, you know, from being able to do this again in the future, right? That's the goal, right? And at least, you know, even if you can't stop him from doing this in the future, at least he's facing some consequences for the action that he has done to you, right? Like, that's basically the end goal, right?
I mean, Mizkif legitimately tried to accuse her of killing bunnies, which got disproven, by the way. And so many people have also spoken out against Mizkif. It's like, yeah, dude, if someone fucks me over and then they accuse me of killing rabbits or bunnies or whatever the fuck they were, and they were also being mean to me, and they also multiple times got in the car with me and drove 140 miles per hour saying that they were gonna kill us, yeah, dude, I'm getting my revenge when I can. People are acting like Emeru lied about everything and Mizkif is this wholesome angel. I'm like, are we reading the same document? Are we watching the same videos, or am I just tripping?
Understanding, though, that Mizkif did a poor job in his complaint of including details and spotting out things, and that's what he's probably trying to clean up, him and his lawyer trying to clean up and add to make sure that they perhaps survive a motion to dismiss. But this is their defense. So what do we look at? Well, in defamation in general, we're going to look at this how a reasonable person would look at this. So overall in the context, right, the fact finder, right, the jury at a certain point, right, earlier on, we can look for summary judgment and motion to dismiss. These are going to be the judge is going to be making the decisions, but you're going to be looking from a reasonable person's standard. And Emeru's problem, or fundamental problem, is that she repeated those words and also used them in the context of other crimes. And that would leave an implication that it was the criminal definition, right? And even if it wasn't, once again, we go back to Texas law, there's the imputation of serious sexual misconduct, which can also be defamation per se. However, here's the problem for Mizkif, and this is not just a clear thing where Mizkif is at the complete advantage. They're public figures. And the burden is on Mizkif to prove that Emeru did this with malice. So that is a higher standard. So essentially, Mizkif needs to prove that Emeru knew that this didn't fit the definition of SA and said it anyway. Said, I know he didn't do this. I knew what that was. I said it maliciously. And he's got to prove that by clear and convincing evidence, which is a higher bar at the civil level. Usually it's preponderance of the evidence, which is a lower standard. It's got to meet a clear and convincing standard. That's very difficult difficult for anybody to hit as a public figure and going up to hit that clear and convincing standard. So Mizkif doesn't have an easy ride here. Now, Asmongold, let's talk about Asmongold real quick. Does any of this change what?
It sounds to me like Mizkif is going to have a really hard time winning this. If you ask me, yo Sense, yo Oscar, yo Mr. Society, do you think Mizkif should go to jail for this? Do you think Mizkif deserves to be locked away for everything he's done? Yes. But I also think Mizkif deserves to go to jail solely for this video alone.
You burned my house to the ground!
What the fuck?
My family's dead! What do I do? I'm gonna find you, motherfucker. I'm gonna...
And once again,
What the fuck was that video, bro? What the hell? But no, okay, whatever. Putting the video aside, yeah, obviously, if he's guilty, yes, he deserves to go to jail. I don't understand why there has to be, you know, why people are asking the opinion of others. Like, do you think he should actually go to jail if he's guilty? Yeah, obviously. What the fuck? But yeah, I don't know what the other fucking video is, bro. He has some fucking mental issues, man. He needs to get fucking put in a box and, you know, I mean, get his shit together, bro.
solely for this video alone.
You burned my house to the ground!
The fuck, bro? This is so cringe, man. Fucking egg ass head, bro. God damn.
What do I do? I'm gonna find you, motherfucker. I'm gonna...
And once again, not to get repetitive, and this is the last time I'm saying this, he fucked himself over by going live. Had he not done that, maybe he would have a fighting chance. Maybe things wouldn't look so bad for him. But I mean, he did himself no favors. And then having blackmail and being like, haha, I knew you were an abuser of bunnies. And it's like, well, you had that info, so you knew about it, yet you didn't report it? You held on to bunny abuse, allegedly, once again, and it was never bunny.
Well, yeah, like it's still fucked. It's still bad actually, because you're like, he can be accused of being like an accomplice, right? Because he knew about it and he just covered for it, right? He didn't say anything about it. He didn't, warn like, fucking hell, what is it, like BETA, I think it's called in America, like the animal abuse stuff, like, whatever, when you report like animal abuse and stuff like that. Like, so he's basically fucked himself over by saying like, yes, I know she did this and I have all the proof I need to, and I will release it if she releases the files on me. Which, number one, you that's also another thing, is like you instantly acknowledge the fact that you messed up, right? Like you acknowledge that you're guilty, because you just said, yes, I know, and I will release it if she releases the stuff on me, right? Meaning that you plan to blackmail her in case she actually releases the stuff on you, which is actually something that he said himself. So you can look it up and you can find yourself the clip and like genuinely look at it, and make your own decision from there. But he literally said, if all this stuff comes out about me, then I'll release all this stuff on her, including the bunny abuse and stuff like that. So, it's like you fucked yourself over, because that means like a jury will look at it and be like, so he knew about it, but he waited for a specific moment to talk about it, meaning that either he was fine with it, until certain details came to light, or he intentionally kept it a secret so he has something to use against her if she's bringing out the truth, if she starts talking about him in a negative light, by saying all this stuff about him and, holding him accountable, which no matter how you look at it, you're not putting yourself in a good light. You know what I mean? Like, you fucked yourself over regardless.
Bunny abuse, by the way. And you held onto this footage for years until it was convenient to use. So if the bunnies were indeed abused by Emeru, that means the Mizkif is also guilty of animal abuse. What are you doing? Are you fucking stupid? You're shocked that people are not on your side because of stuff that you said and you've done. Like, I don't feel bad for Mizkif. Like,
damn, that
fuck
camera
that
angle
guy.
is crazy.
Mizkif could legitimately clear everything and I will still hate him based on this fucking video and picture alone. But yeah, guys, with that said, what do you guys think about the situation? Should Mizkif win? Is Emeru a liar? Is Sense a white knight and a tier 3 simp for Emeru? Let me know in the comments below. Before you go,
yeah, 100%, bro. He's a tier 3, bro. He's donating thousands of dollars every week, bro. But nah, anyway, jokes aside, right? Like, yeah, I don't know, man. This situation is crazy, right? And obviously we can never get a definitive answer until the courts give their definitive answer, right? And yeah, like I said, man, just holding someone aside just because you like their content, it's a bad mentality, right? Like you should hold them accountable if they're wrong, right? Regardless of whether you like to watch their shit or not. But yeah, anyway, with that being said, I want to know what you guys thought of this video, and what you guys think about the whole Mizkif and Emerald drama. Drop it down in the comments. I'm really curious to hear what you guys have to say about it. Now, I've been Antidota. Subscribe if you're new. Drop a like, drop a comment. Go to Sensitive Society, subscribe, drop a like, and drop a comment on his video. Let him know what you guys think about the situation to him as well. But yeah, man, like I said, I've been Antidota. There will be the playlist with all the dramas that happened so far and that I've talked about so far, like right here. And then a random video that YouTube might think you would want to see, like somewhere up here. And maybe I don't know, it will either be like a random YouTube video, or it might be like the last video on the Mizkif drama. I think it will be the last video on the Mizkif drama. But yeah, it depends if YouTube actually wants to show it to you, because I've seen that even though I put the last video where I talked about it, YouTube for some reason just messed it up and gave a random video. I'm not sure what that's about, but yeah, like I said, playlist here and the video here. So yeah, I shall see you guys in the next one. Peace out.